Welcome everybody to Scarves and Spikes. Guys, single digits away. I'm
Fighting.
ready.
It's getting close.
So am I. Welcome in, everyone.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going busy. It's going busy is what it is. I'm being honest.
Are you talking about Valentine's Day?
Yeah, man.
What'd you guys do, by the way, for Valentine's Day?
You didn't get the joke, but okay, we're here for it.
Yeah, man, it's busy.
Okay. I pulled my back out, so that's not for me.
Ooh.
So I went to a concert. I saw a group called Neck Deep, a pop punk band from Wales, and went with the family, and that was my time hanging out with my kids.
Cool.
But
we made fondue. It was good. We had different kinds of cheese and chocolate and all kinds of stuff to dip in the cheese and chocolate. We had steak and beer brats, and different sweets, donut holes, and the whole. It was good. It was fun.
Sounds good. We had our Valentine's last weekend, but actual Valentine's Day I was at trivia, so it was me and my girlfriend and some of our friends who went out to trivia. It's pretty busy.
Did you win?
Yeah, we had a good time. We came in third.
Okay.
But it was like 2 points separated first, second, and third.
Dang.
So we came close.
Well, happy third place.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, 9 days. We're there. We're one preseason game away to talking about the real stuff. We are only 6 days away from Miami being out of compliance. Yeah, I was going to bring it up. So if you're celebrating the MLS season starting, it starts next Wednesday. And right now they're out of compliance. We'll see.
Atlanta United people, by the way.
Yeah, right.
It's weird, man. It's weird. I'm sorry. It's just a weird situation. Because we knew this was coming for a long time now. The monopoly money ran out a long time ago. They're cutting up strips of paper at this point to figure out where the Garba bucks have to go. I'm sorry, but it's not a surprise. I'm just curious to see which MLS exec it was.
That's interesting.
If you saw our tweets, we might know who it is.
Right.
That was probably one of my favorite tweets I've ever done. I was just reading it, and I was like,
well done. Mike Bell from 1909, the game liked it, by the way. So, as you guys saw, and informed us in our text thread. But we shall see. That's interesting. We shall see what happens.
Yeah, and we'll get into it next week. But like you said, we're going to be busy here for the next, until November, November, December, when we win MLS Cup, right?
That's right.
But we're going to have a lot of content coming out here in the next couple weeks. Some extra stuff that we're going to be doing. But as always, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. What we're going to be doing there, we've got our Discord. We've got the Discord up and running. We've had it running for a while. We've got a great crew. We're going to be talking throughout the matches on there. And just during the week, we just chat. We were talking about this Miami situation last week. We talk a little about everything, video games, anything you want to talk about in there. You want to talk to some Atlanta United fans and get some instant feedback from these two when they go to training. They're bringing that up to you right away. Great place to check. You also get discounts on our store, which is on scarvesandspikes.com, on our Etsy store. Tyler's got one of the hats. I've got one of the hats.
Oh, and
Sydney's mentally he's got an undershirt.
I gotta get mine. I'll get mine.
It's on it. He's working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I also brought this for show and tell just because.
It got the hoodie as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, infomercials over.
Yeah, we got our infomercial over. But yeah, we're gonna be having fun. Spaces are gonna be back. We're gonna talk about that next week. That's one of our favorite things. That's how we started. So we're gonna be getting back into that next Saturday. You guys are gonna have to handle because I will be in Columbus, partying a little too hard, I'm sure. But yeah, we're excited, and I guess the first thing that we've got to get into is Thriving Thursday.
Thriving
We
Thursday.
can't say winning Wednesday. It's not Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday. It's not winning Wednesday. It's not anything. It's Thriving Thursday. We thrived.
Was that off the top of your head, by the way? Or have you been
What?
cooking this one for a minute? Or was that like just out of left field?
There were some weird. I was trying to think of some good adjectives that began with T, and there were some weird ones that I came up with. I was practicing this in the shower, and yeah, this thriving. We're thriving. There was another one.
I like it.
Yeah, I won't. After the After Dark one, I'll tell you the word that I accidentally came up with. Yeah, no. But yeah, 2-0 win.
Just really quick. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I got to give a quick shout out to Henry. Speaking of the Discord thing, we didn't talk about this beforehand because it's still getting built up. But Henry has got the fantasy league that he is getting set up. So that's another Patreon thing. Get on the Patreon, get on the Discord, and come join a fantasy league and be regaled by all the wonderful team names that are already popping up. Tommy. Anyway, carry on. I'm so sorry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
On the spot, but hey.
That's another thing for MLS After Dark.
Yes.
So 2-0 win. Like I said, I'm ready for this preseason to be over. It's fun watching these games, and I'm very appreciative of Atlanta United showing them. This is the most preseason coverage that we've ever had. So I'm happy to be able to see that. But man, I swear, every time I turn it off, I've never watched the full one. I'll just be honest. Every time I turn it off, they score goals. I feel like that's the rule of like when I watch hockey. Oh, I walk away, there's a goal. No, this preseason, I walk away, there's 2 goals just back to back. Every time. I've texted you guys, I'm out, guys. I can't watch this anymore. They end up scoring goals. But Firmino and Tiare end up scoring 2-0. You guys got your dream, clean sheet, which is something that we've been begging for, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the match?
I mean, I'm glad Firmino scored, but I didn't think he had a good game. And I feel like if this could just be me saying this, but let me know. I mean, reach out, our Twitter and all that, our X accounts and stuff like that, where to find me. I feel like
friend of the show. He's a friend of the show.
I understand. No, I mean, I feel like people, and there's gonna be a lot of expectations being put on Nick because of what he did in MLS Next Pro. I want to see it in the regular season. It's terrific. I'm glad he scored in the preseason. I mean, he was a little shaky, and he has been this preseason. I don't know if it's just him getting his legs underneath him, getting used to training more with the first team or anything like that. I'm not knocking him at all. I mean, really enjoyed our interview with him a few weeks ago, and if you didn't see it, please go back and watch. But I want to just be fair to him and get people in the mindset of, he's essentially a rookie in MLS. I mean, he'll be getting a lot of time, presumably, with the first team with Almada gone. He, for all intents and purposes, is the backup at the number 10. And I don't want people to put too much expectations on him and say, he scored, 13, 14, 15 goals in MLS Next Pro. He won the Golden Boot in MLS Next Pro. He's going to be a star, bona fide star in MLS. It's an adjustment for a lot of players. And it's a higher level of competition, of course. It's a different league, different players, professional players who you're going up against week in, week out. So I hope that this is just a warming up period for Nick. I mean, he should have finished maybe a chance or 2 more against Tampa Bay. So hoping that he kind of has kind of the yips out of him, and that this is kind of a springboard for him to do big things for Atlanta United, because he'll be counted on a lot, I would assume, in place of Almada, if Almada can't go for whatever reason. And, Almada will be gone, of course, in the summer. Atlanta United will be putting in a permanent number 10 in his place, I think so. So we, I just hope that the expectations are kind of managed for Nick. I see Zill saying, I'll be surprised if he gets minutes consistently at MLS. I mean, he's not going to start every night, obviously, but he'll get like his share of appearances. But I don't want people to think right off the bat, if he doesn't perform, he's a bust. Give him time. Give him time to get adjusted. Give him time to get to know MLS. Granted, he scored on his debut last year, but give him time to get to know MLS on a more consistent basis when he's out there. But good on him for scoring. I mean, again, didn't think he had a great game against Tampa Bay. That's okay. But good on him for scoring, and hopefully that's a confidence builder moving into Kansas City on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's just kind of my 2 cents. What do you guys think? Agree, disagree?
So I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree. I agree. Hey, what's up, AX?
How dare you?
Good evening. But no, yeah, how dare me? I'm going to disagree.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
In a way. I got to defend my guy a little bit. I think Nick Firmino, you do have to set some expectations, right? Nick Firmino, first of all, is not traditionally even a number 10. He is an 8. He's a forward-facing 8. He's like I can't say a 9 because it's a different position. He's an in-between 8 and a 10. But he can play up and down the spine of the midfield. But I think he's most dangerous in that number 10 spot. And yeah, right now he's the de facto second number 10 behind Thiago Almada. And that's okay. That's not necessarily an issue because I do think while there are plenty of other number 10 attributes that he'll need to work on, I think he's got a lot of the basics, a lot of the fundamentals down. I mean, the guy, he's all over the field. He's getting into the right positions in the box. He's there to help score. His finishing is pretty solid. I mean, he's definitely, he's missed some shots here in the preseason, but I think he has the building blocks of somebody that can come in. And I'll give you another hot take. I know we had our show. We did our season preview episode the other day and we did hot takes and we've done them on Patreon. My other hot take, I think in all competitions, I will give Nick Firmino 3 goals this season.
That's fair. That's more than fair.
So I just think.
Well, Sydney just said he was going to score -6.
Hey, drinking the haterade over here.
Right.
I just think, yeah. What you said was absolutely accurate. I think, yes, he is a rookie in MLS. That's a fact. That's not, that's a fact. Like, he hasn't played in many MLS minutes, but he scored twice in the preseason. He's had opportunities that he just hasn't put away. So 90% of the battle is won right there. The mindset's there. I know from talking to the guy and doing the interview with him, and we had the interview here on Scarves and Spikes. I did the exclusive with him on Dirty South Soccer. Like, the dude, he puts his nose to the grindstone and he's going to do what it takes to get better.
Yeah.
And I would like to see him learn from Thiago Almada while Thiago Almada is here. And I do think that he can absolutely be a serviceable, solid MLS midfielder. And I'm excited now. Right. I could come back and bite me by saying that, but I think I'm right on this one.
No, I just don't want people to go crazy. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Unfair expectations.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, for sure.
But
like Jackson Conway?
Well, I don't know if people place really unfair expectations on Jackson Conway. They knew what they would get from him. I just think he never got an opportunity in the first team. But
he did, though.
I mean, not a lot. Not a lot.
The whole Joseph here.
Yeah, but outside of that, like.
Yeah, I don't know,
man. I feel like he did. I feel like he was stuck in that purgatory, though. He just never could break through to MLS.
At the very least, he never took that next step, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. He never took that next step. And, unfortunately, it didn't work out. Ultimately, he's gone elsewhere. So, but yeah.
I think he took a step backwards for sure. I joked around about the negative goals, but I do think that he took a step backwards there because he just didn't do much, unfortunately. But with that, he was also in some bad teams. We got to remember that.
Yeah.
Some of those teams weren't very good. Didn't matter who was up there. There wasn't a lot going on. But
Agreed.
so MVP of the season of Atlanta United, Nick Firmino from Persydney.
You heard it here first.
So Tiare, our backup striker, right? We haven't had a very successful one.
We've never had a very successful one.
Tito?
Yeah, I was going to say since Tito. Yeah.
Since Tito. How do you feel about him now? Because a few games into the preseason, people were not happy. They were not happy with a lot of his touches, his finishing, and it still didn't get better in those couple of games, but it started to improve, right? I think goals in back-to-back, right?
Yeah.
So you know you're going to be missing Giakoumakis for quite a few games. How do you feel about him going into the season as the backup?
I'm just trying to think real quick, though. I'm sorry, Sydney, really quick. Was it? He had the one in this match, but then he had the one in the match before that was like not really his. It was more of an own goal, but he was in the right place.
Yeah.
And then he had the one before that in Athens.
So 3.
So 2.5, 3. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Right,
I had to make sure I was thinking right. Carry on, Sydney.
No,
2.4.
No, yeah. 2 and 3rd. No, I was going to say he's got to play. I mean, he had a little bit of a concussion issue last year, and I don't know if we saw quite enough of him to really make a judgment on him either way last year when he came in. Again, he had the injury at the end of the season. But he played 46 minutes, guys, across 4 appearances. I mean, that's barely anything. So I don't know. Again, I don't have an opinion on him coming out of 2023. Now, going into preseason, he had his moments. He's had his moments, and he had, like we said, we kind of joked about 2 in the 3rd, 2.5, 2.4 goals, what have you. But he's found himself in a good place, in good places. He's found a nice little groove in preseason. Now, granted, it's preseason, and you can't take too much away from it. But at the same time, I feel like with some time to really gel with this team, gel with the rest of the attack, where he wasn't able to last year because he came in the middle of the season, like Saba, Shande, and Tristan. He
was behind all of them.
Yeah, he's behind all of them. Yeah, he was able to show in the preseason at least that he could be a serviceable backup. And again, we haven't had that since Tito. I mean, and granted, Tito, his natural position was a striker, but still he delivered in a big way when Joseph was hurt. I think with TRA, this is a big opportunity. We talked about Giakoumakis going to be gone for Euros. Can TRA be that striker that Atlanta United needs in that moment to continue to keep the attack running? And if not, this team is going to be in trouble. So I think he's had a decent preseason and a lot to build on. I think as he gets his feet underneath him, gets more playing time, especially with the first team, or especially with in the regular season, he'll grow even more into the team. So looking forward to seeing what he does and how he built on, like I said, pretty solid or pretty decent preseason. Not a great preseason, not a terrific preseason, but decent. I mean, he's been pretty good.
Okay. So one more player I want to talk about here, and he came in as a sub for Gregerson. Our interview coming up.
Later on.
Noah Cobb. Now, Jason Longshore has been shooting this guy to the moon. If you watch any of these YouTube presentations that they have out there, I mean, he's saying he's MVP pretty much every game. Now, defense is obviously the biggest issue with this team over the past few years. How do you feel about Noah Cobb? Tyler, I know you just interviewed him a couple hours ago, so you're
I'm on the spot.
Yeah, you're BFFs, and he's watching right now. He's watching.
Yeah, he might be. Yeah,
so
I don't know. He's probably having fun down in South Florida right now, to be fair. But
the whole team is gathered around here right now. All right, they're gathered
people
around watching this. We've got Nick Firmino already upset at Sydney, right? He's just staring. He won't stop staring at that part.
Off at Sydney.
The rock, paper, scissors champion. Yeah,
Tyler Wolff is going to be over there trying to determine which golf course he's taking the team to after this. And then Noah is going to be waiting to hear with bated breath what we have to say about him. No, I think, to be completely fair, I think Noah has stood out to me in the best ways in every preseason match that he's played in. He is playing, I think, beyond what I expected him to do coming into this season. And I expected him to do really well. I expected him to take that next step. And he's got the right, I think, group of people around him to learn from. It's a big thing when, and I know everybody has their own opinions about Carlos Bocanegra, but it's a big thing when a guy that was a men's national team defender calls you out and says specifically, this kid has national team written all over him. And I think what I've seen so much this year that's really impressed me is not so much of the physical attributes, because the dude's way faster than you would expect. And he showed that in a couple of moments in the preseason, but he was putting out fires like a veteran, but he was playing mentally mature and he was doing the things that needed to be done. Well, he wasn't perfect. He's not perfect. He's, he has Derek Williams coming to him and saying little things, and he's, the coaching staff is talking to him after, but you'll hear a lot about his preseason and his off season in the interview coming up in a little bit, but I don't disagree with him being named the MVP of the preseason at all. I think he's been good to see. I think it's been refreshing, and I think it should be exciting for Atlanta United fans to know that you have him kind of waiting in the background. He's going to get minutes this year. He's not going to get a ton. He's similar to Nick Firmino, I'm sure, in terms of how many minutes he'll actually get. But you'll see him this year, and I think he'll continue to impress. I'm excited about it.
Can he build on it in the regular season against MLS competition? Is Zelf saying in the comments, how can he do? He talked about the Columbus game last year, his MLS debut, and how things just really went south. None of that can be blamed on him. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah.
But
Star Wars night,
right?
Freaking.
But he started 2024 with a clean slate essentially, and he's 18 years old, so he's still young, but he'll get his moments. He'll get his opportunities with the first team, especially if and when Gregerson has to go away for international duty with Norway. He'll get his chances. I don't know if he'll get a lot of appearances. You have Abram, you have Gregerson as your starters. You have Williams behind him. As a Cobb is behind them. So there's your four right there. And then, I mean, you're pretty much set in that position. You have some other talent coming through. You have Morales as well. So that's your group in the center back position. And Zilf, thank you for your comment, asking us what the center back depth chart looks like. Yeah, Rob Gregerson starting, Williams, and then Cobb, and then Morales is what I think.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be Gregerson and Williams.
You think Williams is going to start over Abram?
Ooh,
I think so.
Interesting.
You guys want to bet your beards on this?
Nope.
No.
Come on. One day, one of you are going to feel, or me, is going to feel so confident in something. We're going to bet a beard.
Are you going to bet your beard over it?
Oh, sure. Not this one. No, I don't feel confident.
Zilf knows ball. He knows what I'm talking about. Not that you don't, Sydney. I don't know. I do think that's the toss-up side for sure. I like what I've seen out of Derek. I think he's done really well. And that's not to say Abram has done bad, but I just like what I've seen out of Derek, personally.
Henry saying Williams has impressed during preseason. I think he's making it tough for United to choose. I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Maybe doesn't reflect the best out of Brom. Not to say he's had a bad preseason, but again, that's good. A good problem to have. And the thing with Williams is he's an MLS veteran. He has more time in MLS than William or Abram does. So,
not to mention,
he's got a few. Say again.
I said not to mention over in Aston Villa as well.
Yeah, exactly. And he got a few not so good reviews with his time with DC United, but I mean, how much of that is his fault? Them struggling. So I wouldn't be mad though with Williams starting over.
You know who else got a really bad review at DC?
Who did?
Miguel Berry.
Miguel Berry, who scored in preseason, by the way.
I just had to see Tommy's face.
Damn
it! He's gone. He's gone.
Don't tag me. Don't tag me in Barry stuff. You monsters. I don't need to be tagged in everything. Oh, Barry sneezes. Let's tag Tommy in it. I don't need it.
Goals.
I open my phone and it's just the little eye things, and I'm like, what is this? And I see it's from a Galaxy tweet. I knew exactly.
You knew exactly what was going on as soon as you saw it.
Damn it.
Anyway.
Well, defense is going to be the topic here because there was an interview that came on, and whenever we talk about things all the time here, and it's just the three of us, and all the other fans that listen to us on a weekly basis, and I feel like when we talk about things and then the national media then talks about it later, I feel like we know what's up, right? And then maybe they're just watching us and copying it. But Herculez Gomez on ESPN put that Gonzalo Pineda is on the hottest of seats right now as MLS coaches go. And he said defensively is the biggest concern, right? This team, got into the playoffs, didn't make it, allowed the most goals, then allowed the third most goals last year. And now he goes into the season with a ton of talent. Is he on the hot seat? Which I don't know if hot seat's the right word, right? I don't know. And jump in here if you think it is. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but now that it's getting brought up again here, and then you've got ESPN talking about it. Their big thing was Garth Lagerwey hasn't been able to hire a coach, in 10 years, right? He hasn't been able to go out, and he's the superpower Atlanta United. I think that was their term there, can go out and he can go make his stamp on this team himself by going to pick his own manager.
Gio Savarese.
Right?
He's available. No, but we've talked about this before. Pineda has no excuse. And I agree to some extent with Herc. Pineda has no excuse, right? He has talent in the midfield with Slish, Gregerson coming in. Gotten good reviews for his time overseas. Saba, Shande came in mid-season, did very well. Giacomakis almost won Golden Boot. So you have McCarty coming in as well. Veteran presence in the midfield, won't start, but a veteran presence in the midfield. Muyumba, Slish. I already mentioned Slish, but Muyumba, Slish. And then, again, Gregerson. So you have so many new faces in so many key positions for Atlanta United. I think the only question is, how will they adjust? And if they can adjust and gel right off the bat, this is going to be a really good team. If they adjust and gel and Atlanta United is still facing the problems that they're still facing, then they're going to struggle, of course, and I think you have to have a serious talk about Pineda coming back in 2025. I mean, we talked about it already. Like I said, mid-season is going to tell a lot about this team, and if this team is struggling and languishing mid-season, I don't think Garth will have any issue pulling the plug. So I wouldn't say he's on the hottest of seats, but I will say he's without excuse at this point in time. And do you want to read Omar's comment?
Yeah. You brought it up, so go ahead and read. I was going to bring it up.
Okay. Well, yeah. Omar saying, can y'all define hot seat? Does it mean he'll get fired at the first chance, or he just won't be renewed? I mean, at this point in time, if things do go south and it gets to be middle of the season, I think you just let him go. You don't owe him that. You wouldn't owe him that much money at that point. But you don't want him going in as a lame duck coach at the final half of the season if you're struggling. I think, this team has to come out. I'm not going to say like run the table over the first 17 matches or anything like that, but has to come out a much better way than it did last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about last year is they actually came out pretty hot, but then it got roller coaster-y. It was very up and down, and there was no consistency at all. I don't know that it's the hot seat because, like Omar said, you have to define hot seat. Hot seat to me means like a firing is imminent.
Arthur Smith.
Yeah, that was a hot seat for sure. We're giving Tommy some blood pressure issues tonight. Yeah. But here's the thing, I understand what Hercules is saying, but I also think like the point about Garth Lagerwey, and we've mentioned it, we talked about it on here, we talked about it on the spaces. I mean, that's an assumption that he wants to bring in somebody. Like, it would make sense, and I understand the assumption, but it's an assumption that he's just like chomping at the bit to bring in his own head coach. We don't know that for sure, because I think ultimately he just wants whoever's there, whether he put him there or not, to be successful. Because if that's happening, then he looks good too. So I'm kind of whatever about that. Because I know it was mentioned like, oh, he's been in this position since 2014 and has never hired his own head coach. Cool. If my head coach happened to be Pep Guardiola when I took over, I'm not trying to, and I'm not comparing him to Pep Guardiola. Let's get that out of the way now. But like, I'm not going to go make a change just to make a change. You know what I'm saying? But I think by default, you can look at Atlanta and you can look at Pineda. And if you want to determine or define it as a hot seat, then fine. But you have to look at what happened last year, because it's kind of by default that he's the one that would have the highest expectations on him, because all the other ones actually got fired last year or let go. There were 11 head coaches in MLS that got fired last year.
It's a lot.
11. Montreal. So you had Hernan Losada fired. You had Christian Latanzio gone. Wayne Rooney. I mean, he left.
Well, he walked.
Immediately got a new coaching job, and he's already gone from that one. Adrian Heath.
Oh, he's an MMA fighter now. Get it? Or a boxer.
Bruce Arena. That was a weird situation. Whatever. Robin Fraser at Colorado. Gio Savarese, like you mentioned. Bob Bradley at Toronto. Phil Neville at Miami. Ezra Hendrickson at Chicago. Gerhard Struber at the Red Bulls. So there's your ones that were gone last year. Almost all those teams were not good last year.
Yeah, especially Toronto.
Yes. But like Atlanta wasn't bad last year. Atlanta could have been better, I think. I do.
Yeah.
But I don't know that you can define what's happening right now as a hot seat. Now, like you said, we're having this conversation come July.
Leagues
and it's
Cup.
Still not dead set that like Atlanta is where it needs to be under Gonzalo Pineda, then we're having a whole different conversation for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, Matt brings up a point here, and I've had this feeling a couple years ago when everyone was saying we need to sack Pineda after we didn't make the playoffs, right? How much appeal is the head coach job here with all the turnover? That was a concern of mine because everybody was calling for Pineda that season. I know there were a lot of injuries, but people wanted him out right away. And like, you just can't keep moving on from guys 6 months in, a year in, right? A little over a year in. And that has been my concern. And then it's just with MLS, you can't just go and get rid of players easily, right? So now you've got all these players of mismatched coaches, right? And like now you finally feel like you've got Pineda's team here, right? You've got the players that he wants. At least you hope that they worked together to bring in this team. And if you sack them right away, I don't know. But you need to see promise. I think everyone knows that this team can score goals. It's defensively, can they lower that and win a couple games on the road, right? Not blow these leads here. And the mental errors that this team has had, there's got to be something there that he can do to help stop this. And now you've got the defensive midfielder, you've got center backs, you've got depth there. You're not stuck with a few guys. You've got good depth, right? Parada, I don't know. I think you just didn't have great depth back then. You had depth, but it just wasn't good. So time will tell, but it really, I think the point of that video is like Garth might really just want to bring someone in, and he's already got experience. Schmelzer came in and ended up, with at the mid season and kept the job, right? And that was kind of leading to that was, well, maybe that could be something Atlanta United could do. They can go out and find someone. But yeah, I think it's got to get really bad. But we overreact too, and we overreacted around Leagues Cup, right? When they got embarrassed out of that. There was a time to do it. That was the time.
Yeah.
And look what happened.
Those dark times.
I mean, the vibes were low, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And most fans said we're not making the playoffs. Like, I think we put a poll out there. Are we going to make the playoffs? Are we not going to make it? And a lot of people thought we weren't because we had the toughest schedule going into that second, or that last third of the season. It was just statistically the hardest schedule out there, and we ended up dominating it, right? Scoring, I think, the most goals during that time.
Yeah.
You know who is on the hot seat, though? It's Dean Smith at Charlotte FC.
Explain why.
Oh, how many coaches has Charlotte FC had since they started?
Every one of them.
Right.
You got to catch them all.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. We're going through red and blue and Pokemon at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one for sure. And it sucks because like Charlotte they have all the building blocks of being a solid team. I hope they suck.
Well, their owner's like George Steinbrenner, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's holding that team back at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
That dude doesn't know when to step away and just let the smarter people do smart things.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, I think it's time. Sydney and myself were a little bit busy today, so we gave the interview. What's that?
No, I was just copying Bruce Buffer.
Bruce Buffer, man. He was coming in hot with it in the background.
It's time.
That was good.
Out of 10, what was that?
I don't know. What was the rating you gave Nick Firmino for this preseason game? And with that, the famous Noah Cobb interview.
Atlanta United center back Noah Cobb, who is down in Florida currently. Noah, what's going on, man?
And nothing much. Preseason's been going good. We're all having a good time. We're all enjoying the trip. So everything's good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Appreciate you hopping on with us, obviously. Have you made it? Are y'all still in Tampa or have you made it down to South Florida yet?
No, we're in South Florida now. We're in South Florida. We've been here for a few days.
Okay, sweet. So you're I guess, well, I would say a stone's throw distance from Messi, but he's on his world tour right now, I guess.
Yeah.
So just to kind of, I know you've been playing a lot with the twos. You've been killing it in the preseason. Obviously this year, a lot of conversation going on about just how consistent and consistently well you've been playing in the preseason. But can you just kind of take everybody through kind of what your Atlanta United journey has been like so far from the beginning?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm originally from Chattanooga. And I joined the academy kind of part-time U14 year and then full-time U15. So I played 15s, 17s. Then I kind of started creeping into the twos environment. Played my first game when I was 15. Then played, 10, 11, 12 games, something like that first year as an academy player. And then signed the next year on the twos contract and played about, 2 years ago? In our last year in the USL, and then now we're here. So
yeah,
that's kind of a very broad kind of overview of my journey.
So Chattanooga is like a second home to me. I've been going there since I was a kid.
Yeah?
But yeah, we love Chattanooga. Chattanooga. What was it kind of it like growing up there? Because you said you got started obviously pretty young with Atlanta, but what was your time up in Chattanooga? Was it a specific club? Was it anything that got you into the game up there?
Yeah, so I played for Chattanooga FC. So when I was still the year I moved to the academy here was when Red Wolves kind of started up. So Red Wolves was never a club when I was in Chattanooga. So I played for Chattanooga FC. Whenever the club started for that, I think it was maybe like U11, U12 ish was when kind of the club started. And before that, it was it was the highest level of club soccer you could play at in Chattanooga. I played, It was a club called ERFC, Eastridge FC. So that's what I played for there. And then, like totally different kind of landscape to the Atlanta youth scene. At tryouts each year, we were having 25, 30 kids at tryouts, opposed to the teams here that get, 200 or 300.
Yeah.
So it was just completely different. Soccer's not really the main sport there. It's basketball, football, baseball are all much bigger. And I played basketball growing up as well. I never played AAU. I just played for school. And I kind of got into soccer. I started out at like the YMCA.
Okay. Yeah.
My parents just kind of put me in it. We're trying different sports. And I can't really remember when I was that young, but my parents said that I loved it. Like I always loved, I would wear my uniform around the house. Like I just loved it. So that's kind of how I got started in soccer. My parents just signed me up, not really knowing what was going to come of it. I just loved it.
Did you go into it once you kind of grew into it? Was defense, was a defender, center back? Was that kind of where you thought you would be, or was that your preferred position? I know most people are like, no.
Actually, definitely not. I didn't start playing center back until like second half of my U15 year. So before that, like in Chattanooga, I was always, an 8, a 10 striker, just whatever. I was always, to be honest, even if I was a 6, I was trying to get up the field a little bit more. But yeah, I was always a midfielder. That was kind of when people asked me, hey, what position do you play? I just said I'm a midfielder. And then I kind of slowly started creeping back. And then I started playing center back, and I never started creeping back forward. So I just kind of stayed there. But one thing I will say is I've always had kind of like a defensive mentality towards whatever position I played. I was always like, I never really, like whatever position I played, I always thought defense first. So I never had like a huge, like attacking mind, a huge, let's go score a bunch of goals. I was more defensive no matter where I was. Well,
right now, the way that the club is going, that's a good mindset to have, because the attackers, that's going in the right direction. It seems like the defense is going in the right direction now. And it seems like that mentality that Pineda has kind of been talking about seems like it's creeping to the entire club. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. I think like in terms of defense, it really is like it's a team game. You hear coach talking about it. It starts from the very top of the field and goes all the way to the back of the field. And attacking starts all the way from the back of the field and goes all the way to the front of the field. And I think, no one appreciates the strikers and the wingers and the attacking midfielders pressing more than center backs and fullbacks, because it makes our life easier. And yeah, I think this preseason we've done a lot of work on it. I think it's getting a lot better. It's still work in progress, but I think everyone's really bought into the idea like, hey, we gotta defend, and we gotta keep the ball out of our net. And I think that becomes a habit. I think you start taking pride in that. And I think it's something that you can build your confidence with when like, hey, we're not going to concede goals. So it gives everybody else on the field more confidence when hey, we're not going to concede goals.
So I know with the twos, and it may be different even from the twos to the first team or club to club, but is there a conversation in the locker room at the end of a match when y'all have a clean sheet, when a team has a clean sheet? Is it, because I think as journalists or podcasters or just fans of the game, whatever, like we see a clean sheet and we're like, yeah, that's freaking amazing. Do the players make that big of a deal of it too?
Oh, absolutely. I know us defenders do.
Yeah.
And even the attackers, they, before the games, they're the ones saying, "Hey, clean sheet, clean sheet." So they understand how big it is because, I mean, you could score 3 goals but lose 4-3.
Yeah.
If you don't let in any goals, you can't lose the game. It's impossible. And I think also a lot more so. I mean, attacking as well, but I think defending is a lot. It's like just a big mindset. Like, it's not fun. Like, nobody wants to be the guy like throwing his body in there, but it's what you got to do. And you learn to love it over time. And, at this level, we've all gotten used to it. But, I think it's just really, when if Brooks jumps, the next guy, like, I got your back, having the confidence in each other. Like, if I go, this guy's got my back. And I think just communication as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you personally, I guess, I know some players they kind of keep it close to the chest. Others are pretty open about it. And so it's totally up to you, but what are some of your personal goals for the season going forward?
Yeah. I mean, obviously top of the list is just as many first team minutes as I could possibly get. That's number one. And, I don't think necessarily my growth as a player this year can be determined by how many minutes I got this year versus last year. It can all be dependent on the circumstance.
Right.
So I like to set goals for myself that don't really involve numbers. Like, for example, like I had 4 first team appearances last year. Okay, let's get 5 this year. I like to just more stuff like, be brave, focus on communication more, watch more film, that type of stuff that you can actually control, more so than focusing on numbers. But yeah, I think my main goal is just as many minutes as possible. And then some of the smaller goals were to really work on my communication, to be a lot braver and trust myself in uncomfortable situations in the box.
Yeah.
And then another big one for me was just watching more film and asking more questions as well.
Was that something that you tried to focus on, or was there anything specific in the off season that you tried to focus on, or was it just all about taking a break, getting away from it all and just relaxing?
I went on a 10-day vacation with my family. But other than that, I was pretty much at the facility, pretty much a large majority of the off season. I was really just focused on all things defending. Like, a big thing that the assistant coaches and Gonzalo has said to me was just footwork. And it seems small, but it saves you a second, half a second. And that can be the difference in, a good clearance or a bad clearance. And I think just getting the small details, like your body shape, your footwork, and all that stuff is the foundation for like winning your duels, like aerial duels and 1v1s. I think kind of the footwork and the body shape is the foundation for that stuff. So that's what I was really working on.
Okay, awesome. So then that kind of brings up my next question. Is there a particular player anywhere in the world that you kind of look at and say, their game is very close to what I'm trying to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't play anymore, but Nemanja Vidic.
Okay.
He's someone that, he's not necessarily the biggest guy. I kind of like that profile, like him, Sergio Ramos. They're not super tall. They're around my size. But just the fearlessness and like how they go into tackles, how they command the back line, you can really feel their presence. That's the type of player I want to be.
Sweet.
For sure.
Well, I think it's been seen because we talk about it, and I've talked about it with like Jason Longshore, calling some of y'all's games and everything. It's one of the words that comes up very often with you is fearless. Even when you were younger, especially playing in USL, where you're playing with grown men and you're just like, whatever, dude, I'm as big as y'all.
Exactly. I think, I definitely think in the USL getting smacked around a little bit was good for the development.
Yeah.
That
sometimes getting thrown into the fire for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So speaking of that, actually, and I'm not trying to bring up a bad memory. you got thrown into the fire, like the fire last year against Columbus
Yeah.
in that away match.
Yep.
And just talk about how you mentally go to a game like that where it was rough all around. It was just a tough performance, and that happens in sports. But how do you come out of that and kind of stay positive and stay, focused on what the ultimate goal is?
Right. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't know how to feel after the game. Like when you think about your debut, like you think about winning, like celebrating in the good feelings in the locker room after you get home. You're celebrating with your family, but like I wasn't happy. Like obviously I wasn't happy. Like I didn't really like. It was tough because I wanted to be happy. Like I just made my MLS debut, and it was what I've been working for that entire year. But I didn't really know how to feel, and I did have a pretty tough time, like mentally processing like what happened. Like obviously that hadn't happened that year, and then I'm playing, and then it happened. So is this my fault? You know what I mean? Like all those thoughts kind of cross your head. But I think talking with the coaches, people like Caleb, Tyler, I even talked to Quentin a little bit. And then Ben, our like mental coach. And they just kind of helped me like, hey, like that stuff happens. Like it's professional soccer. Like sometimes everything that goes wrong. And I think that was a really good way to put it, because every time Columbus shot the ball, it went in the goal. And I think it was just one of those games where, every loose ball went to them. Every time you tackled them, it just somehow went back to them. And I think everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And I think looking back on it, I'm kind of glad that happened, because that was a huge learning experience for me. And in my head, I was saying, well, it can't really get any worse. So then I think that kind of helped me play into that fearless mentality next time I stepped on the field.
That's awesome. And I know the fans love that kind of thing, because I know it's tough, and I think it's a good life lesson too, right? Stuff's going to happen.
Sure.
Like crap's going to happen in a soccer game. Stuff's going to happen in life.
Yeah, for sure.
You just gotta move past it.
Right.
So on the team now, who are you kind of close with? Who are you kind of learning from? Who are you, I guess, hanging out with down there in Florida?
I mean, obviously me, Caleb, and Tyler are pretty close. Me and Tyler are pretty good golf buddies, and we're trying to get Caleb into it a little bit.
Okay.
So, and then like more so like learning from and stuff. I'm like, me and Derek Williams have been talking a lot.
Okay.
He's played in MLS, he's played in England. And he's someone that it's not always me going to him. He's offering up information to me without me asking sometimes, which for a young player like me, it makes me feel really good. And I just appreciate that coming from an older, more experienced player.
Sweet. It's funny because one of these first that we had on, Stian Gregerson was kind of the guy that everybody's so fascinated with, because, I don't know if you've heard the quote, Norwegians are awesome. I don't know if that's.
I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that fly around a little bit. Yeah.
Well, you can thank Aiden for that. That was his. But but no, having a guy that played overseas, having Derek, another guy that played in England and has been here, is that a little bit different than kind of the center back core that you've had over the past couple of years? Do you feel like you're able to get a lot more out of it as a young player?
I mean, I think the center back group last year overall was good. Like we were all really close with each other. We all got along. We all talked and stuff. But I think this year there seems to be like a different level of focus. Like there seems to be a different level of, pride. And that's not saying we didn't have pride or anything last year, but I just think we're just that little bit closer. We're that little bit more a group. We seem to be more of a group, and we seem to be, really taking goals against us personally. And I think we're all open to each other. We all enjoy each other. And I think we all enjoy the competition in trainings and in games.
Sweet. So this is just kind of a fun question. What's been your favorite part of the preseason, now that you've kind of been with him for a couple weeks?
Trying to think. Well, it would have been one of the best parts. Me and Tyler were going to try to play the Trump National course here, but the prices got a little too high.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of soccer, I just think the consistency of our performances have been great. Like, you know, we've had an undefeated preseason so far, and I think, you know, building that winning culture and that winning habit has been, you know, really fun to be a part of.
Who's a better golfer?
Tyler.
Okay.
I won't lie. Tyler's really good. You know, he can go out and shoot par on any given day. I'm more so, I would say my average is probably either 80 or 81, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I can leak down into the 78, 79 range every once in a while, but I would say on average, I'm, you know, 80 to 81. So I'm not a bad golfer. Tyler's just too good. I mean,
He seems like he's going to go like the PGA route one day when he retires.
Oh yeah, I could see that. He's got the game. He's got the game.
Okay. Hey, there you go.
Yeah. It's fun to watch.
That's good. That's good. All right. So I got a few, I don't know. We call them kind of like rapid fire questions, but they're not super rapid fire. They're just going to be kind of fun. Take your time to answer, but, just kind of fun questions. What's your pregame playlist kind of consist of?
I actually don't really listen to music before games. I'm one of the guys that just listens to whatever's on in the locker room, and I'm kind of just, you know, I'm not a big headphones guy. I don't like how it makes my head feel. I don't like, you know, I don't like feeling like I have a dent in my head when I'm going out for warm-ups. And then AirPods don't really fit in my ear, so I just kind of listen to whatever's on.
All right. It's so funny because I think everybody just assumes like, oh, you know, you see players getting ready for a match and they've got headphones on or something.
Right.
And so I've asked that question now to you, to Tyler, and to Aiden. And all three y'all are just like,
answer.
Yeah. Aiden was like, I could listen to some Avril Lavigne, or I was like, what?
Yeah. To be honest, Shonda's pregame playlist that gets played on the speaker is good. Like, okay, it does the job.
Right, there you go. As long as you got somebody that's getting you in the right mind.
Exactly.
All right. So, are there any other pregame rituals that you have of any kind?
Not really. I would say kind of the main one is I go on like a little walk with my parents in the mornings. Just like a little walk around our little townhouse community. That's about it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have a favorite player in general? And I know you mentioned a couple earlier, but would it be the same answer? Or do you have a favorite player of any position?
I mean, growing up, it was always Wayne Rooney. He was always like my favorite player because I'm a big Man United fan.
No, he's good. Yeah. Bring him on.
It's Luke. Yeah, they're coming. But it's growing up, my favorite player was always Wayne Rooney. Yeah, that's about it.
Tell him howdy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you didn't when Wayne was with DC as a coach or obviously a player, but you weren't on any of those matches, were you?
No, I wasn't a part of those.
Okay. If you had any particular dream team that you would love to play for, I know you just said Man U, would that be the answer, or would there be any?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So since I wasn't going to ask this, I actually asked it Tyler last week, but now that I know you're into golfing as well, what's your dream golf course?
I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is Augusta. But I would say also like Pebble Beach is up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, I feel like in terms of iconic golf courses that you think about when you see on TV and stuff, I would say, you know, Pebble Beach, Augusta, maybe like Sawgrass in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Are there any nicknames that you have that you want to share?
I mean, the one that's kind of picked up like social media attention is Cobb Salad. And that actually started. He's right here, but that was Luke. Luke came up with that. It was he wanted. They thought it would be a good gamer tag. So they convinced me to put that as my gamer tag, and now everyone just kind of calls me that.
Okay, sweet. FIFA?
No, no, it's Call of Duty.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
hey, right there with you on that. Okay, so here's the last one I got. This has been going around social media a lot. Can we know who put butter in their coffee? I don't know if you did. I'm assuming you saw this thing with Dax.
I've seen the butter in the coffee thing, but I'm gonna be honest. I have not witnessed anyone putting butter in their coffee yet.
All right. So the secret remains. Or the
if I knew, I would say it, but I don't know.
Do you drink coffee?
No, I don't. I don't drink coffee.
Well, if you ever decide to drink coffee, I can't tell you to put butter in your coffee.
Don't know. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
I don't know about butter in the coffee.
It doesn't do it for me. But hey, if it's got some magical powers, by all means, whoever it is, keep doing it. Noah, that's all I got, man. It was a pleasure. It was a great time. And is there any other final message you want to give to the fans before we let you go?
I mean, I think we're gonna give it our all this season. We're really looking forward to the season coming up, and I think we have really high expectations for ourselves. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting it started.
Sweet. All right, Noah Cobb, everyone. Best of luck to you, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And tell Luke we said howdy back there.
I will.
Team defense. Everyone that we've talked to talking about playing some defense. That's what you want to hear when you've allowed 864 goals in the last 2 seasons, right?
Right.
I like it. I like that everybody that we've spoken to, not just on the show, but being at the training ground and everything else, is so on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always happen either. Like, I've played on teams before, and hockey's different, but you've got some guys that just don't care about coming back and playing defense. Like, that just happens, right? And it's not just, high school level. That's in every league. There's guys that are they could score a ton of goals, but they're minus players because they just constantly, don't go back and help on the defense side. And that's what really makes a complete player and can also make a complete team. And you're starting to see that. And, I think that having a clean sheet in the preseason has to be difficult because there's just so many different combinations you're thrown up against. And they did it last week. It's a good sign, right?
Yep.
I loved when he was talking about his experiences with the 6-1 last year. And, he was like, oh my gosh, this didn't happen before I played. And now here I am. And you're getting blown out the building. So I really liked what he was talking about, being honest about his struggles with that, and then just talking to players on the team, talking to Ben, who's been part of the team. I think last year, I don't know if he's still with them this year, but they brought in that mental coach, Ben. But yeah, I was glad that he was able to really get honest with how he felt, and I hope that he really does. He's situations like that to get better, because as a young player, it's just so easy to, let that keep you down. But I'm glad that he's looking back at it and saying, hey, I want to use this to get better. I want to not dwell on this. I want to take the next step past that.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think it's also one of those moments too, where you have to remember that these people are human, guys. Like, we have shows and we have podcasts and we have outlets and there's news media and everything else. And I can tell you from experience being in the spotlight at times like that, where everybody's judging you and like writing articles and crap about you is just, it's like, man, but I did my best, and it can get overwhelming and it can be very, very negative at times. Right. So the fact that Atlanta brought in Ben, well, I think it was at the beginning of last year, to help out with not just that, but just in general, right? And then going forward and being able to I guess to have that kind of maturity to do what he needed to do and hear from his teammates, more importantly, to kind of move past such a rough loss, which again wasn't his fault. It's just refreshing. I think it's nice to see, and it's also a reminder that like, yeah, these are humans that we're dealing with, and like I said in the interview, sometimes stuff like that can be a life lesson, man. You get whooped and it sucks, but you just got to put it behind you and go forward.
It can. Before we move on, we have a question for Tommy in our chat, and this will only make sense if you saw our season preview that we put out.
Damn it!
Tim asking,
"Damn it,
Tommy, do you feel that Luis Araujo was that type of player always wanted to come back and defend?"
Damn it!
Yeah, if you're listening after the fact, you didn't see his eyes bug out when he read
my eyes bugged out. I had the most natural rant I think I've ever had on our preview. And if you go to Twitter, we posted it on there, or just go watch the full season preview. It's something. Miguel Araujo or Louise Barry. Oh, Zilph, I hate you so much.
Yeah.
Just gonna go upstairs and yell at my kids for all these.
Tommy's not gonna make it through tonight's episode.
What's wrong, Dad? Because we brought up Araujo and Barry. Barry's got 2 goals. 2 goals. Go to bed, Dad. Jeez.
Who's dropping money in the Araujo jar then?
Tim.
Tim, you owe us. We're keeping track.
Your Patreon account has been deducted $1 extra this month. We're sorry. We're sorry about that. No, I enjoyed that. It's nice to hear from these young players and where they've come from and how their goal is to be the starters, because you don't get that all the time, right? A lot of, especially big teams like Atlanta United, they go out and for the young kids, because there's just so high expectations, it's hard for some of these young kids to be able to live up to those expectations, to be able to make that starting roster, right? And we've seen successes with Bello and Wiley, right? Like those are the 2 biggest ones. You're seeing Tyler Wolf, get into that, and like that's great, but it's not a guaranteed thing. Now, for some teams out there that don't spend a lot of money, it's a little bit easier to get into those teams here. For Atlanta United, it's not. High expectations across the board. And if it's not working out with the young kids, what are they going to do? They're going to pull out their pocketbook and go find someone that's going to do it. And unfortunately, that kid might not get a chance. But we're seeing that continue to grow. And, I know there's been some hits on Pineda, but I think Pineda's been doing a pretty good job at bringing some of these kids up to speed to be able to produce right away. Again, small sample size, but Firmino be able to come into that game, score a goal. You saw in the last AmFam Cup, right? You saw some young players really step up in that game. You hope a player like Cobb's going to be able to come in, whether it's this season, because I don't think there's a guaranteed. I mean, you both, you got beards on the line here, right? Next week, who's starting? I mean,
we'll find out.
Maybe
soon.
Cobb starts. I don't think he does.
No,
but he hasn't done any. Seti, quit being so negative. We're gonna start a negative jar for you. I'm not saying, but just yes. Cobb family and whoever's listening, I believe in you. I'm sorry for this guy over here. This guy over here. I'm so Tim. There's a beard bet. We'll talk about it later. I get to shave it at the home opener. It's going to be super exciting. But like, he's making that decision hard. I understand, that it's 95% chance he doesn't, but all of those players have done a really good job. And, Abram, I don't know. Maybe there's a chance he's not even here at the end, by the end of the transfer window. Maybe they go and they look for something else. I don't know. Maybe Cobb is done enough, in their eyes to be able to be that third guy on there. We'll see.
Yeah.
He'll get some
But with
time.
that, I think so.
Yeah.
He'll get some
But they're
time.
but here's the thing. They are going to take the Open Cup seriously this season. There is no way after that embarrassment of last season that they're going to go throw out some random squad. There's no way. They have to win that first round. Absolutely.
I will say this. You know who was really good in that match, that Open Cup match last year?
Who?
Noah Cobb. I mean, it was a cluster in a lot of ways, for sure. And you can definitely chalk that up to a lot of chemistry, with a lot of these players having never played together. And you probably could have fielded a stronger lineup in general for Open Cup. But got to give a shout out to Noah, not just because he was on the show, but he had a strong match.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to challenge them. Scarves and Spikes versus Atlanta United in Call of Duty. I think it's going to happen.
I'm here for it.
Hey,
Sydney, do you Call of Duty?
I mean, I haven't played it in a while, but
I think it'd be fun.
I wouldn't be against it.
All right, so here's what we do. Sydney, just going to set up your loadout. You're going to sit back and you just pick people off, all right, depending on what map we're playing. Me and Tommy will be the cannon fodder.
That's good. Can I just snipe people?
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
We'll talk after the show.
So one more preseason match this Saturday. Not televised anywhere. We're back to the dark ages.
Yep.
Sporting Kansas City. What would you like to read in tweets about how this match goes? Do you want to see the full starting line? Do you expect to see whoever's starting in Columbus to start this game? And does Almada play?
No to Almada, since he hasn't been with the team for a little bit. Again, you already know where you're getting from him. He's getting the start. But I think outside of that, yes, you see more traditional starting 11. Giakoumakis, hopefully, he's back from his knock. He had a little knock he's been dealing with. Hopefully, he's back. Tim saying in the chat, full time and no one injured. Exactly. But with the known quantity players, actually, I think I said already, I don't think you play Giakoumakis, since you already know what you're going to get from him. So he's not up for a starting gig. He's starting day one. So I don't think you start him. I don't think you start Almada. You may bring him in the second half. Who knows? But I'd certainly expect to see somewhat close to first choice starting 11 out there for against Sporting Kansas City. And I'd expect the same for Atlanta United, or I'm sorry, Sporting Kansas City. I expect Peter Vermees to do the same, because this is kind of your tune-up match before the regular season. You've already seen what you can see from the younger players. You already kind of worked some of the bugs out, not all of them, but some of them. Now you can kind of put a first choice starting 11 with some exceptions, of course, and then treat this a little bit more like a traditional MLS match. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, again, first choice starting 11 with a few exceptions that I've mentioned beforehand. So that's just my 2 cents.
Giakoumakis is injured, but he's practicing, right?
Yeah, Omar asking in the chat, isn't Giakoumakis injured?
Yeah.
He had picked up, again, I have to preface this every time by saying this is not like a middle of the season injury where it's like, oh no. You know what, like Sydney said, you know what you're getting out of Giakoumakis, so you're not gonna try to push anything. If he says, "Hey, I feel something in my hamstring," well, that hamstring's getting a rest.
It's a knock. It's a knock.
Yeah, it's nothing significant. I wouldn't be worried about it, especially even for opening day.
Yeah,
they're being extra precautious with him. Extra precautious, which is fine.
He's pretty good against Columbus too.
That's true. That's true. No, and my 2 cents on the whole SKC thing is So it's going to be 2 normal 45-minute halves. I know that. So there's no like funny business with, 30-minute periods or none of that kind of stuff. But I expect a mostly first choice starting 11. I think this is your opportunity to give Stian Gregerson a full 45, get him kind of really situated. He's not out of fitness. He hasn't been playing because they don't want to overwork him because he was playing in Bordeaux nonstop before this. So that's the other one people keep asking about. He's not hurt that I know of, that I've been told. They know what they got out of him. They know what they have, and they're not going to overwork him because he's been playing already. Just like Yakimakis coming into the season last year, he was already coming off Champions League and Scottish Premiership and everything else. So like, you're not going to force something that you don't need to force. I think you get him for 45. I think you get Caleb hopefully for 60 to 70, because you can tell that they've been trying to build him up to that first week kind of match fitness. And I think, because I see it in the chat, Tim asking who starts Saturday, Guzan or Cohen. I think I'll go back to what I've been saying. I think it's going to be Cohen. Other than that,
so he's your opening day starter.
Not because it's any kind of knock against Guzan, but I think Josh Cohen is going to be the one.
Why?
Because I think at this point, you have more of a known quantity with Guzan coming off of his MCL and the issues that he had last year from New York, obviously the Achilles from before. You have a lot of injuries going around in his lower extremities. And do I think he's got the fight? 100%. 100%. That's never going to leave Brad Guzan. Do I think he can do the job? 100%. I'm not knocking Brad Guzan at all. However, I think what this team sorely lacked last year in a goalkeeper was just that last-ditch shot-stopping ability. And I think Josh Cohen is going to be able to provide that, if nothing else, for the fact that he has slightly more youthful legs than Brad Guzan. And he is a known shot stopper.
Mm.
We've seen him, just a small sample size in the preseason, of him extending out, trying his freaking darndest to do his best Fantastic Four impression and stretch out and completely reach out for a ball that he was never going to get to. So I like what I've seen out of him. And I think he is going to be what the team needs, that ultimately could be the difference between, 3 points in a match or 1 point or no points.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
So who do you say, Sydney? I don't want to know who surprises you. Who's starting? Who's starting against Columbus? I don't care about Sporting. I don't care about preseason anymore. I'm over that. Who's starting?
Cohen.
Cohen. Oof. Oof.
What do you think?
You disagree?
I'm a Brad Batty. We're our group here. I want it to be Cohen because I want to see what he can do. But for some reason, there's something with me that thinks that Brad's going to get the chance to lose that job.
Yeah. No, does Brad start on Saturday, though?
I don't care. Just be honest with you. I think whoever starts on Saturday is the starter the next week. So I'll say Brad, sure.
We shall see. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean,
it really could go either way, honestly.
One of our beards is going to look like Brad's head by the end of this.
We also shall
sponsor us, Gillette.
Yeah, right. Come on, Gillette, you can do it. I'm so sorry. If they sponsor us, I will do it.
All right.
Challenge accepted. I can throw it back in about 3 days. I'll still do it.
They already sponsored that one guy and his dad.
Yeah. What YouTube, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, we're a little bit more fun than that.
Yeah. Me and Brad could do like a promo.
Right.
You can shave his head and I can shave my beard, and it'll be magical.
Yeah.
So after Saturday, we are officially on the road to the first week of MLS season. We've got a lot planned. We're going to be doing some special videos during the week. We're trying to get together with some Columbus popular podcasts. We're showing up on other Columbus podcasts. We're going to be very busy next week. We've got our show on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Come check it out. We're going to be doing watch-alongs. I don't know if we've finalized where our watch-along is going to be, but we'll talk about that next week. Excuse me. We'll be doing Patreon. Again, our favorite thing that we do watch-alongs. What does that mean? A road game. If you've got nowhere to go, I know some people go out and watch at the bars. If you're just sitting at home and you want someone to talk to about the game, my wife's usually reading during the games, and I need someone to talk to. I've got these guys. I've got our Patreon members. We hop on Zoom. We chat about the game. We do shots. Tyler's, passing out, calling off work the next day on Wednesday nights when we're doing the watch-alongs. It's a ton of fun. It's our favorite thing that we do. Check out the Patreon. We'll be doing some other cool stuff on there as well. Again, you see all those practice, all the notes from training. These guys get it out before, right? They get notes out. They get some audio there. Check out our website. We started that up mid-season last year. We're going to be doing, thank you, Tim, watch-alongs are a good time. I will add that and say they're a magical time. Our website, though, we are going to be doing articles throughout the season, notes from practice, post-game, match day, anything you want. Maybe I'll start throwing some stuff out there. I'll have to do it mid-match because that'll be more fun just to see and not hit spell check. I won't hit spell check. We'll see there. But see, magical. Keep it PG, Tommy. Sure. But yeah, we're really taking, every year we've taken it to the next level. Spaces, to this show, to Patreon, and now we're expanding the Patreon, and we're expanding what we do here too. We want to put as much content out there as we can. Thank you for hanging out with us. But next week it's the real thing. Right? We've all been practicing here. If we've been off our game for the last couple of weeks, we apologize. We're stretching. We'll be ready next week. And predictions are back. We'll have new rules to that. And the wooden spoon winner, Sydney, has guaranteed victory. So we'll see what happens.
He's trying to pull a 2023 Cincinnati.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he's trying. But from all of us,
yes, lots of
you.
stuff. And yeah,
Thank you.
Like Tommy said, thank you guys.
Stay tuned.
hit that music.
And
it's gonna hit different next week.
If you're a live show enthusiast,
what does that mean? Oh, he froze. We don't know. This is called the cliffhanger.
oh no.
What were you gonna say?
Place bet.
Oh no. I'm just saying.
Well, we didn't hear what you said. If you're a lifestyle
we didn't hear you. You froze.
Oh no, seriously?
You said if you were a live show listener.
Oh, dude, that's amazing. Okay, no, I said if you're a live show enthusiast, you should keep a very close eye on our social media because we have some stuff planned.
I know what it is.
Jürgen Damm, everyone. Jürgen Damm. Practice.
I can't believe we made it to Jürgen Damm already tonight.
Hey, right at the end, baby. Thank you all.
We
Have a
appreciate
magical
it.
evening.
Have a magical evening.
Don't steal my line.